But yeah, what a recipe for, it was the perfect recipe for a toxic relationship. You know, I trauma bonded with hustle culture. For as long as I can remember. Even though I identify as a soft girl, I really resonate with the princess archetype. My entire room is pink. I love pastels. I have always been a really hardworking and ambitious person. And it took me a long time to own the fact that I'm actually a very ambitious person because I don't know, maybe it's like this collective narrative around women that, oh, if you want to work hard, you don't want to like take up too much space. You're encouraged to take up more space, but at the same time, you don't want to be the nail that sticks out because it gets hammered down. Maybe that's just my internalized fears because there's so many successful women out there just girl bossing up and slaying their goals and whatnot. So maybe this is just something that I personally struggle with. But I've always been, what I wanted to establish was that I've always been a really hardworking and really ambitious person. Like there was never a moment in my life where I feel like, oh, I'm just gonna let things stay the same. I might have subconscious desire to not want to step out of my comfort zone, but there was always this drive for me to level up, to improve, reach greater highs, to achieve more, to feel more purpose in life, to expand. Like it was just this desire in me to grow. I've always been someone with a strong growth mindset, and at different stages in my life that growth mindset had sort of, you know, was maybe not all of it was activated all the time because like I said, there was like a lot of subconscious narratives and desires deep inside in my subconscious, you know, where I didn't really get out of my comfort zone. There were definitely things that I was afraid of. It wasn't, you know, what I'm trying to say is it's not like a linear sort of trajectory where I just kept going up and up and up because that's not how life works. But the desire to level up has always been there. So I think because of this, I constantly sought after an optimal way of being. And I think this is why hustle culture really appealed to me when I first entered the online business space. I really resonated with the idea of fast track success, moving the needle, setting up passive income, building systems, optimizing everything that there is to optimize in your business, and then therefore optimizing your life. I like the idea of like building a life where I could just enjoy myself while making money because I've set up all the systems for passive income, and everything about hustle culture was just attractive and glorious. This desire to strive for more, to work more efficiently, to improve, to treat yourself like a machine and objectify your efforts. So you spiral into toxic productivity and toxic perfectionism in this desperate attempt to secure control because deep down inside you feel like you don't have control and you don't feel adequate. So you just want to like feel that void, feed the hungry ghosts inside of you with all this sort of hyperinflated ideas of success and conventional material success. So hustle culture was very, very appealing to me because I was all those things. I wanted more, but I didn't know how to I didn't know how to feed, and I didn't know how to fill the void inside of me. I didn't really have a loving relationship with myself. So I sought those things elsewhere. I sought external validation. I sought achievements that could be seen and approved of and validated by others. Hustle culture was all those things. And I don't want to diss on hustle culture because I enjoy the adrenaline, I enjoy the hard work, I just enjoy improving on things. That has always been a part of me. But when you don't have a solid sense of self, when you don't have an innate sense of confidence and sense of self that comes from you and you having a healthy relationship with yourself, and it's really easy to become addicted to the rhetorics of hustle culture and the aspects of hustle culture. Like it becomes this empty chase of like you running on fumes and wanting to fill the void on the inside, and then you have to keep doing it because the moment you stop, you feel the void. And what will we give to avoid the feelings that we have to feel, right? But yeah, what a recipe it was the perfect recipe for a toxic relationship. You know, I trauma bonded with hustle culture. It's like love bombing, right? Hustle culture love bombs you with all these promises of success and instant gratification. So you don't have to experience that void in yourself. So you don't have to confront the actual feelings of inadequacy that you have. You can just work. You can just do overtime. You can just not take breaks to not think about it. Perfect. Distract me from my destiny by offering me a cookie cutter destiny. on a plate, so I don't have to think about my actual purpose, because it takes time to figure out, and who has time for that? Ain't nobody got time for that in this fast-paced, modern, crazy, urban world. So yeah, I trauma bonded with hustle culture, and it's like funny but also not funny. And it's just like I've been doing this for quite a while. I've been trying to hustle. I've been doing this online business thing for a while, and that's not to say like during this whole time when I was hustling, I was a mechanical being and just only doing the things that I was told and just only abiding by the rules of hustle culture. Like I was constantly trying to innovate. There was a lot of creativity and heart behind the things that I do. It was a mixture of like wanting to find a perfect strategy and just adopting these behaviors and suggested sort of methods towards success from hustle culture and the things I learned online, versus trying to march to the beat of my own drum and trying to find my own unicorn lane and trying to just express myself and tap into my creativity. So there's always like that push and pull. So it was never just like it was never like hustle culture was just the totality of my existence. It definitely dominated a lot of aspects of my life and my thinking, but me, like the part of me that was me, is still there. You know, my business has always been driven by my creativity and my desire to self-express and share wisdom and innovate and share ideas and things like that. But yeah, because of my addiction to working, my addiction to hustle culture, and my addiction to wanting someone to tell me exactly what I need to do, I got burnout constantly. And I think that's because, as I mentioned, it wasn't just hustle culture. There was a part of me that wanted to emerge, that wanted to be authentic, that wants to find her unique talents. Like I want to find my unique talents and unique ways to do things that make me feel powerful, because everyone has different strengths and different talents and different temperaments. There's always a perfect, not perfect, but there's a Kimberly way to let Kimberly succeed. That sounded really weird, but I just want to find mine. I want to know what my rhythm is. I want to know what makes me tick. I want to know what my magic is. So there's always that push and pull. And one of the explorations that I've had about burning out when I'm thinking about burning out is that if I were to truly identify with hustle culture, if this is a real part of me, like if this is who I actually am, is just hustle, work, and I'm high energy and I don't have to stop and I can just manage my life in that way and live my life in that way and navigate life in that way, I would not be burning out, because I think the real reason that we burn out is because we're not in integrity with ourselves. It's because we're trying to do this thing for external validation while struggling to maintain our authenticity and what we truly desire, for example, which is rest or play or joy or doing things at a slower pace. The real reason for burning out is because we're spending too much energy entertaining the both parts of us. Because like I said, if I were to identify with hustle culture completely, and this is 100% me, why would I be burning out? This would just be my life. Right? I wouldn't be thinking about like, are there other ways to do things? Like maybe I get a little tired, maybe I get a little stressed out from the work that I do, but if this is who I really am and this is how I function best and operate best and how I thrive, I really wouldn't be thinking about burning out this much. I think I burn out is because I was constantly torn between wanting to hustle really hard and be this hard-ass girl boss bitch versus wanting to take it slow and live this cozy life and get creative and deeply in tune with who I am and my body and the sensations and feelings of my body. You know, as an deeply empathic person, and also as an HSP, I need to take things slow sometimes. Most of the time I need to take things slow and just allow myself to process things really slowly and deeply. I feel like this is like my area of strength. So I think that's one of the core reasons I've been burning out. And there's like a lot of sub branches and sub reasons that I've been burning out that sort of created this hustle hurricane that constantly swept my energy and just drained the shit out of me. But I feel like that's like the major reason. The major reason why I burn out so often is because I was caught in between two modes of being and I could not reconcile which one was best for me. Because like, yeah, I want to be authentic and do things my way, but I'm missing out on all this fast-paced success stuff. Like I really want that as well. My first lesson when it comes to hustle culture, or when it comes to not burning out, is we burn the most energy. There's so many things that drain our energy, that distract our attention from the things that we're supposed to focus on the most. But the one thing that truly burns our energy, that destroys our energy reserves, is when we're not sure who we are, when we don't have a solid foundation, when we don't have a sense of self. Because when we don't know who we are, we look for external validation. We want to do things that other people are doing to appear to be doing the right things at the right time with the wrong method. And it costs us so much energy to be someone we're not. And I know this is a huge topic, but I just want to include it in this video because it's so important to try to find out who we are as individuals and get to know who we are and just have that self-awareness so we can do something about it, so we can find ways of succeeding that are best suited for us. Like we can tune into our strengths and work on our shortcomings, etc. But when we don't know who we are, we can't make those decisions. And we're torn in between two aspects of ourselves that both want the spotlight. And it's just really hard. This is just like, I would say this was the main source of my burnout, is wanting to hustle and live that life at the same time desiring something slower and deeper and more creative and more authentic and just like non-hurried, you know? Because I feel like when we are aligned with our authenticity, when we're aligned with who we truly are, when we're making decisions based on our values and we're loving ourselves and respecting ourselves, when we are like intact, when we're not in duplicity, which is a concept introduced to me by Martha Beck, my favorite author and spiritual teacher, one of my favorite authors and spiritual teachers out there. And she talks about in her book, The Way of Integrity, how when we are in integrity, when we are intact, when we're making decisions from an aligned place, when we're not ignoring ourselves or our priorities or the sensations in our body, when we're aligned, we actually can exercise the most power and we don't burn out as easily because we're constantly in a state of flow versus trying to hustle or become someone we're not, or adapt behaviors that are actually detrimental to our health and not really align with who we truly are. That's when we burn out. At least that's when I burn out, is when I'm caught in between two personas and two aspects of me. I think the root cause for us wanting to chase after something, chase after hustle culture, chase after a certain level of income, chase after a car, chase after like some kind of relationships, is because we don't know how to be with ourselves. Like there's this deep sense of inadequacy. In fact, one of the reasons why I consistently burn out is because I overwork to escape my deep fear of failure. This is probably a paramount fear of mine. I cannot tell you how uncomfortable it is to experience it, to actually sit with it, to realize that I have it. Because when you hustle and identify as a hustler, you want to look perfect. You want to look perfectly confident. You want to just exude confidence and look so competent that people trust you and they want to give you they want to give you their money. They want to like do business with you or blah blah blah. And I cannot tell you how terrifying it is to sit with that feeling, like to sit with my fear of failure and to actually trying to heal from it and to actually start healing from it by feeling those feelings of just like inadequacy. Because behind your fear of failure, there's a deeper and even more horrible feeling of feeling that you're not good enough. And I know this is very common. This is not something new that I'm just sharing with you, but I'm telling you to actually experience it, to feel that deep core fear of yours and to just cultivate enough stillness and that you're enough of a safe to finally get there where you feel safe enough to sit with those feelings. It's so horrible. Like, this is the feeling you get when you sit in front of a screen and you're trying to type out your book, work on your book and write something, but you're blocked and you call that writer's block, right? No, it's probably just your perfectionism and your paralyzing sense of failure because you're so afraid to fail for whatever reason. Maybe you were criticized a lot as a kid. Maybe you feel pressure to succeed in a certain way because maybe your parents are really strict, or because society has certain expectations, or just the culture that you're in push you to become this person. There's this standard, this egoic sort of like line that you have to like cross over or maintain all the time. You can't just be yourself because like you were rejected and you experience self-hatred and you feel negated and neglected. And in a nutshell, it's just horrible to have to come to terms with those feelings. It's so much easier said than done, right? Like, it's just so easy to tell yourself like, oh, but you are good enough. But that feeling of inadequacy is not just a limiting belief. It's a horrible feeling, and it's so hard to tap into that feeling, to heal from it. And I think that's why we burn out, because we constantly we seek to distract ourselves from this deep feeling of inadequacy. We seek to escape our grief, or we seek to escape the feelings that are trying to catch up to us. So to avoid them catching up to us, we run away, we escape, and we pretend that we're chasing something, and we pretend we're doing this with intention, but actually we're just afraid of the hungry ghosts inside of it. We don't want to look at it. And I just want to emphasize again, it's so easy to say this on camera. It's so easy to listen to self-help like podcasts or books about, this fear of not being good enough. It's the worst feeling ever. It's one of the worst feelings ever. There's other horrible feelings. All the negative feelings are quite horrible in their own ways. They have their textures and their sounds and their sensations, but because it's so hard when you are grappling with your deep sense of failure and your deep sense of inadequacy, because what you're really avoiding feeling is your shame. And shame is a hard bitch to catch. Shame is just by design very hidey. It hides from you when you try to feel it. When you have the awareness and you want to feel into it, it just tries to hide from you. It wobbles. It's like it just runs around in your body and you can't catch it. And it's a hard one to overcome. Like, it took me years and a lot of traumatic things that happened in the past couple of years for me to actually look at myself in the mirror and say, like, figuratively, it wasn't like I was staring in the mirror one day and I'm just like, oh my God, these are all my issues that I need to fix. No, it was like this gradual awakening, but you get the point. I'm just telling the story. But I also just want to highlight that the nature of telling the story is it sounds very linear, but it actually wasn't linear, but I just want to put that out there. This is the source of our burnout. Like, we burn out because we're so afraid of feeling inadequate. We're so scared of feeling that we're not enough, and we would do anything to escape that feeling. Like, of course you would. Of course we would. Why wouldn't you want to escape from that feeling of like, you feel like you don't deserve to exist? That you feel like nobody cares about you, or nobody cares about the work you're putting out or what you're creating, and nobody wants to, that feeling of like, no one's gonna care, no one's gonna give me praise, no one's gonna give me recognition, no one's gonna see me for who I really am, no one's gonna honor me the way I honor myself. And it's horrible. Like, it's horrible. Like, why wouldn't we want to run away from that? So we burn out instead, like we work and we work, we drive our body to just ultimate exhaustion, and when we can't anymore, to further escape from the feeling, we get so tired that we can't even think. We can't even sit with our feelings to heal those wounds. And yeah, burning out is just a mega existential sort of, I think, symptom of deeper issues, such as not knowing how to take care of ourselves and not having a healthy relationship with ourselves, not having positive self-talk, and just basically existing in negativity in the guise of chasing positivity. Burnout is a symptom of existential gaslight that we give ourselves. We gaslight ourselves into thinking that, yeah, we're confident. Look at all the work we're doing. Look at all the achievements. Look at this goal I'm chasing. Look at this mind map that I came up with. Oh, look at this campaign I'm launching. Look at this website I just built. Look at this job. Look at my score, or whatever. Like, whatever status symbol that you have in your mind that equates to like, I'm finally enough. All of that, we use all of that to escape our deep feelings of inadequacy. And it's so hard to not spiral into burnout because that feeling is so intense. That feeling of like, sometimes for the longest time I could not even feel this feeling. It just felt like overwhelm. It felt like stress and complete overwhelm, just tension in my body. I was frozen, like my nervous system was activated because it was just like this trigger state. And I'm so used to it because I was like, well, this happens every time when I try to work on something important, right? So I have to like power through it. Or I guess I burn out again. That's why I feel so overwhelmed. But it's like, it's that feeling of shame and feelings of inadequacy just stacked on top of each other, layered on top of each other, and you're stressed. You wrap stress around it. You wrap your burnout around it so you don't have to look at it, because now you just have to deal with your stress. Now you just have to deal with your burnout because, well, you just have to manage your time better. You just have to take a nap. You just have to like set a Pomodoro timer and take a stress break in the middle of your work session. This is a practical issue this is a practical problem with a practical solution, right? So yeah, and because we were never taught to like have peace with our body and with our mind, it's easy for us to fall into distractions of like hustle culture and burning out and overworking and things like that. And this is from someone who is constantly imbibing spiritual literature and constantly working on myself. I'm just learning about emotional awareness and healing and somatic therapy and shadow work all the time. But maybe that too was a distraction, just intellectualizing my experience, because it just really stopped me from just getting in touch with my body. So sometimes when you are like absorbing knowledge too quickly and too much, that in and of itself is an escape. So everything is a trap. Everything is a trap when we don't have a solid sense of self. So you may be wondering, what are some of the practical ways or just like steps that you can take to address your burnout? Because I went really deep there. And it's hard to just like, well, how do I get there, Kim? Here are some hacks that I picked up along the way when it comes to addressing your burnout. Like, you're just starting on your journey of healing from burnout and addressing your burnout, and you just heard that and you're like, well, that seems like a long journey to have to embark on. Where do I start? So here are some tips on how to address your burnout. So the first thing you need to do is to gain some awareness around your burnout. You want to know what your burnout looks like. You want to know what you feel like when you burn out. For me, I know my shoulders get really tense. I get really frozen like this, like deer in the headlights, and I feel really heavy. I feel sometimes my feet and my hands get really cold. I get really dehydrated. So I start to notice some of the signs that indicate that I'm burning out. And another sign that I'm burning out is I work in front of my desk. Computer all the time. I get really fidgety, I start to just shake, and I get really agitated because my body is just like craving movement and just craving to be like away from the monitor. So knowing the signs of your burnout and just like listening to your body and figuring out like when you're about to burn out, when you feel the stress coming, that's going to be very helpful, because you know when to schedule in breaks and when to just take a breather. Like, I know one of my sort of burnout spiral is when I start something and I feel really good about it. I feel really creative. I'm in a flow. Let's say I write a newsletter and it comes out really quickly and easily. I feel like I'm being very eloquent and very efficient with my time, and this is just like a great writing session. I want to keep going. I want to like start editing and start adding images and start scheduling it, and then start doing all those things and stack all the different activities together. That's the biggest reason for my burnout. Sometimes I just get in a flow and I just want to keep going and just milk it. You hear content creators talk about batching and just like saving time on like bunching content together. I really want to do that, but what I've learned for me is that I have a period of flow, and if I need to switch tasks, that requires a different part of my brain, and it's like a different nature of task. For example, writing and then editing, right? I need to take a break and do it at a different hour or literally the next day, because if I don't, I burn out. Better to have one task and take a break and come back later. So that's just for me. So yeah, first tip is to notice the signs of you burning out and know what it feels like when you're about to burn out or when you are burned out. Awareness will help you make better decisions, because when you know it, you can do something about it. Second tip is to feel your feelings regularly. This is kind of like a continuation from the first point. You want to be in tune with your body, like the sensations of your body and whatever it is that you're feeling, because it's so easy in the name of achievement and getting work done. Well, it's so easy to get caught up with that and just ignore what our body is saying. It's not just like the sensation of feeling tired in your body. It's like, all the things I just mentioned, like it's like, feelings of agitation or sadness or insecurities or fear of failure, whatever it is. If you have a regular practice or a space that you hold for yourself to feel those feelings, it will help you stay connected with your body, so you know when to take breaks. And just work on being a safe space for your emotions, because chances are if you're burning out, it's not just energy management that we're looking at. It's probably, there's like some deeper issue that that we need to get to, and just like things that we need to start healing from. So I have a practice of like feeling your feelings is going to be very helpful. You'll start having like a healthier relationship with yourself, because now you're actively listening to yourself. You know, you're actively listening to yourself. You will have more information about what to do to take care of yourself. When it comes to how to feel your feelings, start a journaling practice. If you don't like writing or typing, talk to yourself out loud or towards a mirror, or just talk to yourself out loud. You know, just process your thoughts. Just have an outlet. Just have an outlet for those emotions. Just try to move the energy out from your body. You know, maybe you can do some art, you can doodle, or literally just say it out loud, or just vent towards a wall, or like hug your plushies or something. Start therapy, or just physically shake it out. Put on some music that you're enjoying and just like shake it out. This leads to my third tip, which is to practice stillness. And we can achieve stillness, or just get into the zone and space of stillness, by taking deep breaths, slowing down, meditating. And I know this is like old advice. Everyone talks about meditating, but I kind of just want to like share with you like a tip on this tip. I think there is the expectation that when we meditate, or when we are like in stillness, we are going to automatically enter the celestially blessed, the nirvana state of bliss, as if we are like enlightened Buddhas ourselves. And then when our minds don't quiet, when it's not that blissful state, as if you're just a track of meditation frequency soundtrack, we get frustrated and we're like, this is not working. Meditation / stillness is not supposed to be like that. When we practice stillness, a bunch of like stuff cluttered in our minds, and just a lot of static is going to come up. The point of stillness isn't to have nothing in our brains, is to give ourselves a space to process those things. And as we process those things more and more, our mind starts to quiet. So my tip on this tip is, okay, when you're like, okay, let's be still, and then you're gonna start fidgeting. You might even feel self-conscious. You might even be like, I don't want to be perceived right now. This is so corny. This is weird. Or I want to get back to work. Just give yourself, set a timer. Do 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Just let yourself feel all those things. Even when you're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing and this is right. Just sit with that discomfort. Don't feel like you're doing something wrong. Just feel the discomfort. Your stillness is a practice. It's not like a state of perfection that you enter. It's just something that you do and allow yourself to do. So when all those feelings of discomfort and awkwardness come up, just take a deep breath and relax, and just let those feelings happen, because that's actually the point of trying to hold still. Is like, when you first start to hold still, you wouldn't really know how to hold still, so your body will like, you know, your nerves will start fighting you on it. I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening. And then there's just so much, just let them talk. Just process those things one by one, and just relax. Just like be detached about it, you know? So the fourth thing to combat burnout is to have a movement and exercise routine. Just keep in mind that you don't have to be like a gym girly or a Pilates princess, or live up to some kind of like gym culture ideal to call that exercise. Just do any type of movement that you like. Stretch, do some silly dancing, play some Ring Fit, go for a walk, or get on those like walking steps counter challenges where you travel like the Shire and you get like a badge from Lord of the Rings or something. So anything that floats anything that makes your body feel good and relax, and you know, you get to loosen up the tension and just activate the muscles a little bit, because when you activate your muscles, you get some endorphins. You know, just do any type of movement that you enjoy, and then just get your body moving, get the blood flowing. Don't worry about like needing to do anything like proper. Just like make sure you don't hurt yourself, make sure your body's comfortable, and then just do something. I think 10 to 15 minutes. Like I think 15-20 minutes per day is like awesome. I personally really enjoy doing cardio dance workouts by Eleni Fit. I love doing Pilates because it allows me to slow down and just focus on the muscles. I find HIIT workouts really overstimulating. I prefer slower workouts where I get to focus on my muscles. I liked working on my rowing machine. I like doing yoga. Actually, I don't even do yoga. I just stretch. I just stretch. It's not really like a fancy yoga routine or whatever, and I just do some dancing. And it's not even like proper dancing. I just sort of do weird interpretive dancing. For example, if I feel self-conscious, I might be like, I feel someone staring at me. And then just do that. It's just do some funky stuff just to get energy out. So yeah, have a movement and exercise practice. It doesn't have to be a gym culture or whatever. Last but not least, we got stillness, we got movement, and now we have rest. Rest for the sake of resting, and rest because it's fun to rest, it's relaxing to rest. Don't rest because you're burned out. Don't rest so you could get back to work again. Imagine, take out a picture of yourself when you were a kid, and then tell this kid, tell that picture, you don't really get to rest, but if you were to rest, it's because you have to get back to work in an hour. That's child abuse. Like, that's literally us abusing ourselves. We don't want to do that. We want to change our relationship with rest. We want to change the dialogue that we have around rest. We don't want to rest just to get back to work again, or we don't want to rest because there's literally no way for us to continue, and then we rest. That's not resting. That's crashing and burning, and that's self-abuse. I said it, and it's just the truth. It's just the truth. Like, there's so many little ways that we are actually like doing a lot of harm to ourselves that we normalize. We routinely mistreat ourselves, and we call that our path to success, which doesn't make sense. And I'm totally guilty of it. I've been guilty of it for many years, and this year is the year that I changed. And I've been changing. I've been evolving. Okay. All right, so before I go, I just want to urge you to, I know burning out seems kind of like a big issue, but also like a small issue. It's like, I mean, it's not a breakup, right? It's not like you lost someone, or it's not like a big issue. It's like, okay, we're just tired, right? But I'm telling you, burning out is actually way insidious than what it appears to be, because it's really a really shallow symptom of our deeper issues, like our core wounds, deep sense of failure and not feeling enough, or just like running away from some traumatic event that we should have been processing or should have see therapy for, but we decide to overwork instead. Or burning out is really us, like if you consistently burn out and you're chronically burning out, you're actually in a constant state of numbness and dissociation. You're running away from yourselves, you're running away from your purpose, you're running away from your joy and peace in your body. Like, this is actually like quite detrimental. Like, this is actually, you're actually depriving yourself of the chance and opportunity to really be in deep connection and deep communion with your body and find health and purpose and joy in it. Burning out is actually a shallow symptom of dire escapism. So I urge you to look at it. Don't just treat it, for years I've been just treating it like, this is just like an energy management problem, right? But it actually wasn't. It's me pouring energy into something that I know in the back of my mind is toxic, because we're dissociating and we're telling ourselves that we're not enough and therefore we need to work more, etc. But glorifying it, so we would keep going after it, so we would just keep doing the chase. But it's not the chase, it's escape. So it's glorious escape. So I urge you to look at your tendency to burn out. If you are a burnout queen like me, this is what you got to do. Start to change, because you're worth the peace, you're worth the love that you can give to your body, you're worth, you deserve to be able to optimize, you deserve to be optimized, like you deserve to optimize the way that truly speaks to your strengths and allows you to flow through life with ease, and then also just like maximizing your maximizing productivity in joyous ways. You deserve that. Don't tell yourself that's not possible. If you tell yourself that's not possible, then it's not possible, because you already made the decision that it's not possible. So make the decision to at least explore some ways to make your life easier, so you don't burn out, so you feel more connected to yourself, so you feel happier. Because like I said, constantly burning out is not just because you don't know how to manage your energy, it's because you don't know how to manage your existence. Burning out, like I said, burning out is really not because you lack the skills to manage your energy. It's that you are unable to tap into your authenticity and navigate life in a way that makes you happy. And that's why you're tired all the time, because you're tired of this shit. It's not just like you're tired, it's like, it's that you're tired, you know? Please fix your burnout issues. You're so important. You are deserving of a life where you feel maximum productivity without the stress and feelings of inadequacy, and that's totally doable. That's achievable. It's a practice that we need to constantly choose to kind of just take on, and it's a journey we need to embark on, but it's possible. So yeah, that is my message. That's my message to you. That has been a confession of a chronic burnout queen. I am now abdicating from the throne. I will no longer be known as the burnout queen. I will no longer be burning out. If I burn out, I'm going to have a healthier reaction to it and just use that as an opportunity to heal and just get in touch with myself, etc. So you should do the same. I don't want to tell you what to do because I don't want to sound annoying, but just something for you to consider. All right. Until next time, level up life, level up magic, and just live your life according to your deepest and truest wishes and desires. And be your happy self.